who am I? Oops, sorry. Oh, just going back to the title. Retire with a purpose. It sounds as if I know what that purpose might be and how to retire with a purpose. I don't. I'm finding out for myself. Okay. I've been a volunteer with RSVP for 6 years now, and I volunteer predominantly as a facilitator, program designer kind of a thing. And in essence, what we're hoping to do, well, certainly I'm driven by the hope that together with fellow volunteers from RSVP as well as other VWOs, that we might kind of rediscover the joy of learning for service, and also the joy of service through learning. So that perhaps, kind of keeps me going. I've been, professionally speaking, I've been in learning and development a very long time, for like 3 decades kind of a thing. And a regular volunteer since 1994. I started out at Dover Park Hospice. And, even as a very new volunteer, newbie, I always had this quiet confidence that, I think I should tick all the boxes when it came to meeting the criteria of a volunteer. But little did I know that in the course of volunteerism, in fact, in the very early days of volunteerism, I found out that everything I thought I had going for me, in equal measure, also worked against me. As a trainer, my job, my forte was to be a quick learner. Yeah, I believe in the human potential. I mean, come on. I was generally regarded as a people person. I wanted to help. How can I not possibly tick all the boxes? That was what I thought. Let me take you back to a story of something that happened in the very early days of my volunteering experience at Dover Park Hospice. This one time, probably about 5 months into volunteerism, this one time I was tasked by the nurse to do feeding. It was something that it was a caregiving skill. Feeding is a caregiving skill that we all learned how to do as volunteers. And I thought, I learned it and I was pretty good at it. So here I was, I settled down with this hospice patient, and it was Madam Troy. She had lost her speech, she couldn't talk anymore, and she was on a kind of like semi-liquid diet. So did all the things, kind of set her up properly in bed, and told her what she was going to be having, let her take a whiff, the SOPs to get her interested in food. In the process of feeding, I noticed that she was actually eating rather quickly. I was like, gosh, she must be really hungry. And I checked, after each mouthful that, she swallowed, which was something that we were taught to do. So, she swallowed it okay, and just sort of carried on with the feeding. About halfway through feeding, Madam Choi suddenly jerked forward. She gagged and looked like she was gasping for air. Instinctively, I kind of held her steady and ran for help. By the time the nurse came, which was only a matter of seconds, Madam Troy's face had gone like purplish red. Her eyes had rolled back. For a petrifying moment, I really thought she was going to die there and then. Followed very quickly by a second petrifying thought, oh my gosh, I'd be the first volunteer to kill a hospice patient. I was horrified. The nursing sister came soon after, and she could see that I was pretty much useless at that point. She led me, gently out of the ward into the nasal station, sat me down, gave me a drink, kind of patted me on the shoulders and said, "Don't worry, it's not you." She said, it's not you. Of course it's me. Come on. These are hospice patients. We're supposed to be feeding them. I should know what to do, right? I should have guessed that she was eating too quickly. I should have slowed down. I should have known better. That was all the, I call it domestic abuse. I don't know whether you guys do it, but kind of like, oh, stupid. I'm not cut out for volunteerism. I have to get out of this place. I'm no good at this. And I was certain when I left Dover Park Hospice that day that I was never going to return. This is too scary. At some point, a day or two after, my mind quieted. And suddenly I had a different thought. What nursing sister Huang said to me that day was that it's not you. But what I heard after my mind quieted was, it's not about you. That kind of blew my mind a little bit, because my trainer psyche says you should know better. You should be one step ahead. I mean, why else would your participants come to class, right? I mean, if you didn't know any better than they did. That rattled me completely. And at some point, I recognized that, gosh, I saw the hospice patients as helpless. Therefore, I need to know what to do, how to help. I saw them in a way as broken. Therefore, I need to, in a way, know how to help fix them. For me, that day, it kind of like shifted. Oh, in case you're wondering, Madam Choi didn't die right away. In fact, she forgave me sufficiently for me to, feed her one more time, the next time I went back. And I was to continue volunteering at Dover Park Hospice for several years after. So, but as I said, my fundamental premise really shifted. It's not about you. Shifted me from they're broken and therefore need fixing, and I should know how to fix them, to maybe they're on a broken, maybe they're on a broken spectrum. Low functioning, high functioning. I could see that they have abilities. I could see they still have, the capacity to do many things. But, well, depending on where they're on the spectrum, they needed different kinds of help. Yeah, and I'm still willing, so I stayed out. It was actually a few years later that I kind of decided that I can do a little bit more. So I went back to school. So not only as a part-time student. I enrolled myself in the Wiesbaden. Have you ever heard of this place, Wiesbaden? It's in Germany. The Wiesbaden Academy of Positive Psychotherapy apparently is a very good school. So I went and kind of got myself enrolled as a part-time student and got myself certified as a therapist. And now, with this new qualification under my belt, I was ready to extend my volunteer wingspan to reach out to more disadvantaged communities. And I did. I tried, I worked with very many different communities, and folks, one thing you have to say about, one thing even I have to say about myself is that I had a great sense of purpose of this. I poured through case notes, I listened actively, I kind of like assessed their, whether you call them beneficiaries or clients or befriendees, I assessed their emotional and psychological state, and then analyze what they may be needing to help them cope with whatever situations they were coping with. Nobody could doubt my sense of purposefulness. But you know what? The light's on, but no one's home. Where was I? Well, frankly speaking, in my head. I may have been actively listening, but up in my head, I was thinking, what questions should I ask? What questions should I ask next? What approach should I use? Should it be CBT? Should it be ACT? Should it be, any number of approaches that, in psychotherapy you learn about? What homework should I leave them so that they can sort of take the next step forward in order to kind of like deal with whatever stressful situations we're dealing with? There was also a nagging anxiety, if you want to call it that. A little bit like a low-grade fever. Not enough to send you to, dash for help, but it's always there. I ask myself often, am I really guiding people in the right direction? And is this all life is about? All this big talk about human potential and everything? Is that it? All we are doing here is to, get people to cope or deal with the problems in order that life is not such a struggle. That's it? Sounds an awful long way from thriving, from living with a sense of well-being. It took several more years of that nagging anxiety for me to, out of the blue, see broken differently. Remember? I started from this. And then I kind of went there. And then at some point, I saw. I saw the okay in broken. Could it be that we were all never broken? Always okay? Could it be that? Could it be that I just don't know what that okay might look like? And can I be okay with not knowing? Feeling that I don't know set me free. It set me free to just listen, to just understand, and then in the process, I think I learned how to care. First, for someone like me, being content with okay, it's a huge shift. It's almost like tantamount to giving up. For a trainer, how preposterous to say, oh, forget excellence, just be okay with okay. But it really allowed me to see things and relate to whoever I'm relating with differently. I have to look back to what this talk or this monologue, if you want to call it, is all about. The title of this talk was Retire with a Purpose, right? Volunteerism is always, or still is, often positioned, or is often poised at a very, kind of like lofty level, like retire with a purpose. Volunteer. Give back to society. Volunteer. Leave a legacy. Volunteer. Make a difference. Volunteer. My thought is, after all these years of volunteerism, folks, my take is that volunteer work is not anything you should do or must do. Not at all. Retire to a second career. Retire to write a book. Retire to travel the world. Retire to learn pottery. Whatever lights you up, power to you. volunteerism tugs at you, it's something worth trying. It's kind of fun. Look how differently I've kind of like been looking at things. So I don't know I don't know whether the person who is being helped or supposedly being helped is the one who is served, but certainly I've gained plenty in the process. Oh, okay. I just wanted to sort of capture a little bit of what everybody talked about, and there was this thing about community well-being. Over the years, I can't help but wonder, what is this community well-being that we're talking about? If we need to capture it in a nutshell, what do you say community well-being is? I wonder if community well-being is not just the quality of the relationships that we all, the people, the constituents have within that community. Just that, the quality of relationships. And if it was the quality of relationships, how can we tell? Well, the quality of relationships is kind of like that sense of interconnectedness expresses itself as mutual respect, expresses itself as consideration for one another. And look at this community. Community well-being kind of like extends itself almost like an extension of hospitality. The way Stanchart is hosting all of us here, it's just an extension of appreciation, extension of maybe even affection for one another within the community. For me, that's just at the moment how simple it looks to me. I was asked to say, I'm from RSVP, and RSVP is about championing senior volunteerism. And I'd be so grateful, or we'd be so grateful, if the community, the company of good community or fellowship would, invite your business partners, and then we could go and perhaps explore with all of you and explore with your business partners some possibilities of working together in the spirit of enhancing, of building community. I'm Josie. I'm a senior volunteer. My responsibilities, it's just to show up and do my best. When things don't go very well, I cut myself some slack. I no longer kind of like, stupid, beat myself up. And but I always relish the opportunity to have a little bit of fun in the process. But in the meantime, I just get on with my life. So whether you choose volunteerism or volunteerism chooses you, go forth and prosper. I wish you all well. Thank you.